99. My name is Rupa, working as assistant professor in Chevrolet Engineering College and dealing the subject power electronic controllers and drives for third triple and 16 batch JNT Kakinada. And this is second unit. Topic name is single phase fully controlled rectifier. Lecture 3. So in previous lectures, we have discussed about discontinuous conduction mode. Now we have entered the continuous conduction mode. So in continuous conduction mode, if you see the figure C, this is the continuous conduction mode diagram. So in this, current will not be equal to 0 at any time. So that's why it is called as continuous conduction mode. So for this continuous conduction mode, we have to analyze these waveforms. Analyze the waveforms. Actually, theory is over and now we are going into practical. So from figure C here, see, this is the figure C, continuous conduction mode. VA, the source, the armature voltage of the motor can be written as 1 by pi. From continuous conduction mode is from alpha to pi plus alpha, right? So alpha to pi plus alpha. So this is one cycle, alpha, this is alpha, this is pi plus alpha, this is one cycle, this is pi plus alpha actually. So it seems it resembles a sine wave. So the voltage becomes Vm, the maximum voltage is Vm, magnitude is Vm, and the wave is of sine wave, sine omega t d omega t. So if you integrate this from limits alpha to pi plus alpha, you will get 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. So from this equations of torque, in the 30th equation, I have already said in previous chapter, torque is equal to K into Ia and E is equal to K into omega m, and omega m is equal to V by K minus Ra by K square into T. So from these equations, I can say that from the equation 13 can be written as omega m is equal to 2 Vm by pi K cos alpha minus Ra by K square into T. So that speed torque curves can be drawn by using the characteristics. The characteristics can be drawn by using the curves. So in no load operation, actually Ia is taken as 0. So when both the pairs of T1, T3 and T2, T4 are off, then the current will be 0. Okay. So, but in this continuous, every time T1, T3 will be on, and at the time of on of one pair of thyristor, other pair will be off. Okay. So immediately after the off of this pair T2 and T4, again these will be turned on. At the time T1, T3 will be off. So at every time, any one pair of the thyristors will be getting on. So there will be not be Ia is equal to 0 condition. But if there exists Ia is equal to 0 condition, then it will be becoming to discontinuous conduction mode. Okay. So this will happen. When this will happen means Ia is equal to 0 when E is greater than Vs. The motor EMF is greater than the source voltage. Then for a period of throughout the period for which firing angles, firing pulses are present. For this period, firing pulses will be present. Okay, so from this, at alpha less than pi by 2, the value will be equal to E greater than or equal to Vm sin omega t, and the maximum and minimum values of the voltage are, see here, this is the speed, no load speeds. This is O means no load speed. This is the value of no load speed at 0 to pi by 2, and from pi by 2 to pi, this will be the no load speed, Vm sin alpha by k. Okay, so now maximum average voltage terminal will be 2 Vm by pi, right? So the maximum voltage we can, after applying the limits, the maximum terminal voltage we can go for is 2 Vm by pi. Okay, so actually no load speed of the motor, when it is fed by a perfect direction voltage of rated voltage will be, so when the no load motor is there and we are feeding that to the drive, we will get a maximum voltage of 2 Vm by pi into k. This is the universal value for getting maximum voltage at no load speed. Okay, so the maximum no load speed, and this is the voltage, and coming to the no load speed is this one, pi by 2 times the maximum. If you take this one, the maximum, this is the maximum voltage value. So maximum no load speed with rectifier control is pi by 2 times as this value. Okay, so maximum no load speed, this is the voltage, and this is the if you multiply it with pi by 2, you will get the maximum no load speeds. Okay, so see here the lines here. This is the line between the discontinuous and continuous mode. Okay, so up to this discontinuous and up to this continuous, like that. So see here, this is continuous mode and this is discontinuous mode. This is discontinuous and this is continuous. Okay, so discontinuous mode is shown here up to 2 Vm by pi k. See here, the boundary exists. After that, for alpha is equal to 0, 60, 90, 120, 160. See what happens. The rated torque will be Ts and the maximum value will be Vm and average value will be 2 Vm by pi k. Okay, so for suppose if you take less torques rated than, suppose Ts is here rated torque, right? If you take torques less than rated torques, a low power drive mainly operates in discontinuous conduction. Okay, a low power drive will be mainly operating in the discontinuous conduction. Suppose if you take the continuous conduction, the speed torque characteristics will be parallel to straight lines. If you observe all the angles, these continuous conductions, in continuous conductions, all the lines will be parallel. Okay, so these parallel lines slope will be dependable on equation 14. Okay, so that equation is nothing but no load speeds equation is there. That is the equation, this one. On this, on the dependent of this equation, we are able to find out the slope of these parallel lines in the continuous conduction mode, in the continuous conduction modes. Okay, so this equation depends upon the armature circuit resistance Ra mainly. The 14th equation will be depending upon armature circuit resistance Ra. Okay, so what is the effect of, there is some effect of discontinuous conduction. What is the effect means? It makes the speed regulation poor. Okay, so this can be explained in previous figures B and C. So if you take discontinuous conduction mode, the speed regulation is very poor. In continuous conduction mode, for a given of alpha, if alpha is given some value, if torque increases, okay, so for any given value of alpha, if torque increases, then the speed and the EMF will be decreased. Okay, so when the torque increases, speed and EMF will be decreased. So when speed and EMF decreases, what happens? Current, armature current, and again torque increases. Okay, this is the condition in continuous conduction mode. So in continuous conduction mode, this condition okay, this is okay, this condition is okay when VA is constant. Okay, in discontinuous conduction mode, torque will be increased, then IA will be increased, armature current will be increased. When torque increases in discontinuous conduction mode, IA will be, armature current will be increasing. So if IA increases, the value of beta will be increasing, but here VA will not be constant. Here VA will be decreased. So as VA will be decreased and drops to a speed, drops to a large values. Okay, so in continuous conduction mode, torque increases, this decreases speed and EMF. So when speed and EMF decreases, IA and torque again increases. But in continuous conduction mode, VA will be constant. But if you take into the account discontinuous conduction mode, if torque increases, IA increases. As IA increases, beta value increases. As beta value increases, VA will be decreases. So this mainly drops the speed by larger amounts. Okay, so this drive operates in quadrant 1 and 4. 1 is forward motoring and 4 is reverse regenerative braking mode. Okay, so from the equation, if you have, we can analyze the quadrant operations. We said that this drive operates in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4, right? So operations are now explained. Okay, so first quadrant means forward motoring. Fourth quadrant means regenerative braking. Okay, so forward motoring and regenerative braking both will be assumed from equations. The assumptions are made from equation 14. What I have showed is omega m is equal to this one, equation 14, omega m is equal to 2 Vm by pi k cos alpha minus Ra by k square into T. Okay, so first quadrant operation, see here. Here omega m is positive, that is speed is positive, and alpha will be, the firing angle will be less than pi by 2, right? In first mode of operation, alpha is less or equal to pi by 2, 90 degrees, and speed is here positive. So for IA is also here positive. So rectifier will be delivering power and motor consumes it. So as rectifier is delivering power and motor will be consuming that, this is called as forward motoring. Okay, so see here in first type of motors, this is quadrant 1 operation explanation. Here positive speed is there, so positive speed is there, that is omega m greater than 0. So alpha is less than or equal to 90. Here IA is positive. Current is positive. So if current is positive, that means that rectifier is delivering power and motor is consuming that power. So this condition is called as forward motoring. Okay, next at fourth quadrant operation, this is the fourth quadrant, C figure. C regenerative braking is the fourth quadrant operation. Okay, so here we actually E is reversed here, minus plus. In forward motoring, plus minus E values are there. In regenerative braking, minus and plus. Okay, so E is reversed due to the omega m speed. But IA will be in the same direction. Current, armature current will be in the same direction, like this only. From supply to motor only, IA will be like this. So now what happens when E is reversed, minus plus exists, what happens? That machine works as a generator. So it produces braking torque. What is this braking torque called? Regenerative braking. Okay, so as alpha is equal to greater than 90, here alpha will be greater than 90, and in forward motoring alpha is less than 90. So as alpha is greater than 90, here voltage is also negative, voltage also reverses, minus. Okay, so what happens to the rectifier? Now rectifier will be taking power from the DC terminals and transfer it to AC mains. Okay, so there is a inverter of power like that. So this operation of rectifier is called as inversion. Okay, and this rectifier will be operating as an inverter. Okay, in forward motoring, rectifier delivers power and motor consumes it. That is forward motoring. In fourth quadrant, regenerative braking, what happens? Rectifier takes power from the DC terminals and again it gives to AC mains. So this is a inversion process and the rectifier operates as an inverter. The rectifier is called as inverter. Okay, so because of the generated power is supplied to the source, it is called as regenerative braking. Okay, so for this fact only, as generated power is supplied to the source, it is called as regenerative braking. Okay, so we are using this two quadrant operations where means it is utilized in overhauling roads or other active loads which drive the motor in reverse directions. Okay, so at these applications only we are using the two quadrant operation. Okay, so in quadrant 1, if you are analyzing this for a two quadrant operation of motor, for the motor to operate in two quadrants, what should be there? Forward motoring of quadrant 1 and forward braking of quadrant 2. Okay, so the above what I have said, forward motoring and forward braking, this is not provided by the drive figure 1. Okay, so if you take this drive, next drive, if you take this drive, there it is possibility of two quadrant operation. So actually in first drive there is no possibility, in this only there is possibility. Okay, so this is single phase control rectifier, single phase fully controlled rectifier control of DC separated excited machine. So we have to analyze it practically and we have to analyze it theoretically also. First we have to describe the controller and the discontinuous and continuous mode, and after that you have to go practically for equations of both continuous and discontinuous modes. Later that you have to explain the speed torque characteristics and the two quadrant operations. Next one, this is a single phase half control rectifier control of DC separately excited motor. Okay, so the figure is shown here. If you observe that figure, you are having a drive circuit. So in a cycle of source voltage, it is defined by equation 1. Here T1 get gate pulses from alpha to pi. Here T1 will be getting gate pulses from alpha. Actually, this is T2, correct that. This is T2. Okay, so T1 will be getting pulses from alpha to pi. Here, alpha to pi, and from pi to pi plus alpha. From pi plus alpha to 2 pi, T2 is getting pulses, firing pulses. So at this interval alpha to pi, At this interval alpha to pi, T1 gets firing pulses, so T1 will be on. And from alpha plus 5 to 2 pi, T2 will be getting firing pulses and T2 will be on. Okay. Now again here you are having two types, continuous and discontinuous modes. First we will deal with discontinuous mode. So if you take the cycle of motor terminal voltage, it will be consisting of mainly 3 intervals. Okay. So we are having mainly 3 intervals. First one is duty interval, and second one is freewheeling interval, and third one is zero current interval. See here, you are having 3 intervals. The cycle of a motor terminal voltage will be having 3 types of intervals. First one is duty interval, freewheeling interval, and third one is zero current interval. So duty internal, it is interval that is from alpha to pi. Alpha to pi period is called as duty interval. Okay, so if you substitute omega t is equal to pi value, because the highest value is omega t is equal to pi. If you substitute the omega t is equal to pi in 7th equation, you will get the equation which gives IA of pi equation. Okay, and second interval is freewheeling interval. So it is from pi to pi to beta, right only. So pi to beta, it is having the freewheeling interval. Okay, so the operation in this interval is actually satisfied by this equation. IA RA plus L into LA into DIA by dt plus E is equal to 0. From this, the solution of this 17th equation, putting Ia of pi, omega t is equal to pi, it yields to next 18th equation, Vm by Z sin phi, e power minus omega t minus phi cot phi minus sin of alpha minus pi into e power minus omega t minus alpha cot phi minus E by RA 1 minus e power minus omega t minus alpha cot phi. So this is the interval from pi to beta. Next interval is from beta to pi plus alpha. Okay, so if you consider equation 3, it is applicable as Ia of beta is equal to 0. So if you want to get the equation from Ia of beta from 18th equation, we will get the exponential form as E pi cot phi is equal to RA Vm by Ze sin phi e power pi cot phi minus sin phi alpha minus pi e power alpha cot phi plus e power alpha cot phi. So beta can be calculated from this equation. Now the equation 19, solution of equation 19 is, see here, Va is equal to 1 by pi. So taking out common 1 by pi for both the parameters, for both the fractions. So here first limit is from alpha to pi. And second one is from beta to pi plus alpha. You have to substitute the values there. From alpha to pi, what is the value? Vm sin omega t dt. And from beta to pi plus alpha, only E d omega t. Okay, so from this, if you integrate, you will get the answer finally Vm into 1 plus cos alpha plus pi by pi plus alpha minus beta divided by pi into E. This is the 28th equation. This is the 20th equation. So from equations, if you go before, you have equations 7, 8, 9 and 20. So from all these comparing, we can write the speed as Vm 1 plus cos alpha by k into beta minus alpha minus pi RA by k square into beta minus alpha into tau. Okay, so when beta is equal to pi plus alpha, then there exists a boundary between the continuous and discontinuous modes. Okay, so if you put beta is equal to pi plus alpha in equation 19, it gives the critical speed omega mc, which separates from the continuous conduction from the discontinuous conduction. Okay, so this will be separating both discontinuous and continuous. So omega mc speed is equal to RA by K Vm by Z sine phi e power minus alpha cot phi minus sine alpha minus pi e power minus pi cot phi divided by minus e power minus phi cot phi. You have to by heart all this and you have to read these formulas. This is discontinuous conduction. Next, coming to the continuous conduction mode. So these are the speed torque characteristics of single phase half control rectifier, which is fed from a separately excited motor. Okay, so from figure 4c bit, if you see, I can write 1 by pi alpha 2 pi Vm sin omega t d omega t. So from that we have to say that Vm by pi, if you integrate them, you will get 1 plus cos alpha. Right? So from the equations again 7, 8, 9 and 23, what happens? Speed torque characteristics exist. So these speed torque characteristics will be represented as dotted lines and it gives the boundaries between critical and non-critical. So these are the speed torque characteristics of curves of single phase half control rectifier fed separately excited motor. Now, so if you consider the no load speeds which are given in 15th equation and 16th equation, so the drive which is operating in 1, that means quadrant 1, that is only represented by equivalent circuit of figure 4b. Okay, so what we are showing in the equations 15 and 16 and the operation of the drive such as which operates in quadrant 1 only, it is represented by equivalent circuit of the induction motor. So drive actually this will not be producing any quantities in quadrant 4. So if you see the figure 7 here, it will show the plot of variations with which is directly proportional to equation 13. This figure A is directly proportional to 13. This is for half control rectifier for continuous conduction operations. So the output voltage cannot be reversed here as in previous one. The output voltage cannot be reversed. When coupled to active load, the motor speed can reverse. Instead of reversing the motor terminals, the speed can reverse. Okay, so when the speed reverse, E will be reversed, minus plus. Okay, so if you are coupling to an active load, the motor speed can be reversed and reversing ease will be as shown in figure B. Figure 7, this is figure 7B. So if you want to reverse the motor, what happens means you have to couple it to the active load, then the motor speed can reverse, which reverse the E value. So here it is kept as minus plus. So though the reverse direction of E is there, but the machine does not change. The machine will be still working as a generator, which is producing the braking torque. Okay, so as the rectifier voltage is not reversed, only motor voltage is reversed. So as the rectifier voltage cannot be reversed, generator energy cannot be transferred to AC source, but it is absorbed in the armature circuit resistance. Instead of not transferring the generated energy to the AC source, it is absorbed in the armature circuit resistance. Okay, so in this form we are having some braking, we are getting some braking. So braking obtained is nothing but we are calling it as reverse voltage braking, nothing but it is plugging. Okay, plugging means that only, reverse voltage braking. Okay, but this type of braking you have some disadvantages. So what are the disadvantages you will see now? Such braking, it is not efficient, but also cause large current to flow through the rectifier and motor. So if large current flows, what happens? The motor or rectifier, in that copper windings are there. If large current flows, what happens? The wiring will be damaged. So entirely the motor will be damaged. Okay, so still this drive cannot be regulated by adjustment of firing angles, because it damages both the rectifier and the motors. So when active load is there, we have to take this care. Okay, so we have to we in the active load we cannot regulate the adjustment by using a firing angle. Okay, suppose if you want to continue this operation, that means I do not want to if at all I have a need to adjust the firing angle, better you have to opt the fully controlled rectifier. Okay, for adjusting the firing angle, it is not possible in half control rectifier, but in fully controlled rectifier, we can adjust the firing angle and give the pulses. We are having some advantages of this half control single phase rectifier. It is cheaper. First of all, it is cheaper and it gives higher power factor. But the single phase fully controlled rectifier does not give high power factors. It is having poor power factors. And moreover, what is the disadvantage? Up to now, we are summing up the advantages. Now, what is the disadvantage means? It provides control in quadrant 1 only. Okay, in other quadrants, it is not possible. Next, you are having, after that, we are having multi-quadrant operations. In that multi-quadrant operations, again, you are having single dual converters and single fully controlled rectifiers in the armature with field current reversals. So once we will check out the multi-quadrant operations basics. So if you come to multi-quadrant operation of DC separately excited motor fed from a fully controlled rectifier. Here it is also controlled from fully controlled rectifier only, and for this half phase not used and single phase is used here mainly. Here the multi-quadrant operation will be used by using a regenerative braking. By considering the regenerative braking, we can use this, we can run this multi-quadrant operations. So in these drives, current control is always in order to provide the limit only, within the limit only. Okay, so it is not possible to go to the beyond values of the current. Okay, so always current will be limited within a safe zone during the transient operations. Okay, so when we take a closed loop speed control, open loop speed control is there and closed loop speed control is there, out of which we are taking closed loop speed control. Okay, so when we are taking this closed loop speed control, it is provided and the current is limited using inner current control loop. Okay, so if you are not using, otherwise the drive will be operated with current limit control. Actually, three schemes are used. What are they? First one is single fully controlled rectifier with a reversing switch. I will explain them briefly in next classes. Okay, so the first one is single fully controlled rectifier with a reversing switch. Second one is dual controller, and third one is single fully controlled rectifier in the armature with the field current reversal. So out of these three, you are having mainly, you have to concentrate mainly on dual converter. So in your portion, mainly dual converter is there, but remaining remaining all will be explained briefly only. Okay, but all these schemes, what I have said, these three schemes, these are capable of providing 4-quadrant operation only. Okay, so all will be providing 4 quadrants. All the 4-quadrant operation is possible here. Okay, so suppose if I do not want to use this in 4 quadrants, if I want to reduce it in 2-quadrant operation, then also it is possible. Okay, so these are employed also when 2-quadrant operations are used. So in the 2-quadrant operation, it consists of mainly forward motoring and forward regenerative braking. So if these two are required, we can employ this 2-quadrant operation. Okay, so forward motoring, forward regenerative braking, if these are required, we can opt for 2-quadrant operations. Okay, so if you take a fully controlled converter, it is capable of providing forward motoring. This forward motoring will be in quadrant 1, and reverse regenerative braking, which is in quadrant 4 operations. Actually, you saw this in fully controlled converter. In previous classes, I also have discussed in forward one, in first quadrant only forward motoring will be there, and in 4th quadrant reverse regenerative braking will be there. So this fully controlled converter is capable of providing forward motoring and reverse regenerative braking also. Okay, so these three are discussed in next classes, because if the time is over, 2 minutes only there. If I start, it will not be over. Again, I have to make the rehearsals. So better to start in next class.